If you're trying to grow, if you're on any sort of spiritual growth or healing journey, try shifting your perspective from overcoming negativity to learning to work with negativity. We've been conditioned to believe that negativity, darkness, discomfort, etc. is like some earthly thing that isn't just inherent to the forces of nature. But this is not the case. And the longer that we try to separate those aspects of reality from ourselves and our reality, the longer we stay stagnant. In spirit, in the real reality, the reality that exists outside of this one, light and dark coexist. The gods, your higher self, the spirit guides, the universe, the nature of reality has dark and light within it, and they coexist and they work together and they are, in balance. Okay. They are not separate, they are together, they are intermingled. Okay. And all of the extremes that we fear are not a result of the dark. They are a result of fear of the dark, of trying to pretend that the dark doesn't exist. Because if we pretend that it doesn't exist, it doesn't go away. It, in fact, cries out for attention because we're trying to get rid of parts of ourselves and the nature of reality that are inherent, and you can't get rid of it. It's going to be there regardless. Life, like, we have this idea in the spiritual community that enlightenment and that ascension means rising above it all and somehow getting to some perfect utopia. There is no perfect utopia. There is no reality where we will not experience dark things, discomfort, confusion, struggle, all of these things, negative emotions. There is no reality in which we don't experience this. The highest of the high, the gods them fucking selves experience these things, okay? They just understand, have accepted, and know how to work with it. So this idea that us on earth, we have a low consciousness and we're working towards raising our consciousness. Our low consciousness is not that we have darkness. Our low consciousness is that we have been taught to repress and cast out the darkness as if it is not an inherent part of reality. We have been taught to fear the dark. That is the descension, the fear of the dark, the separation of the dark. And this is why so many people get stuck. This is why collectively we are stuck, because when spirit or when aspects of ourself come to us and they try to show us how to reclaim this aspect of ourself, how to reintegrate this aspect of reality, how to work with this aspect of reality, we become afraid. We become suspicious. We think we're, low vibe. We think that something's out to get us because we have been taught that these aspects of reality are not real. This is what makes us lower beings. This is what makes us low consciousness, low vibe. And what we're trying to do is overcome these aspects. No, when spirit comes to us in a way that is showing us these aspects, it is to get us to be able to understand. When your higher self comes to you in a way that shows you these aspects, it is to be able to get to know these aspects, to accept these aspects, to understand and to work with these aspects because they won't go away. The lie, the illusion is that we can overcome an inherent part of reality. The emotional manipulation is that we can overcome the dark, an inherent part of reality. The truth is that the more enlightened you become and the more you spiritually grow, the more you learn to accept and work with it in a way that is productive. Let's take the conversation of healing, for example. Healing is often approached from a victim-first mentality, meaning that when we talk about healing and how healing is part of the spiritual journey, many people talk about it with undertones of understanding the thing and then figuring out why you're a victim and why you've been made to be this way. Bad things happen because of the bad people. I have bad behaviors because of the bad things bad people did to me. And this is going to be part of it. This is obviously an integral part of the healing process. However, healing, in order to be done effectively, has to be done with accountability first. You first have to learn to acknowledge, accept, and love the parts of yourself that contribute to bad behavior. Because if you are shaming and damning those parts of yourself, then you are going to do the same for others. And this doesn't mean saying, I deserved what happened to me, or I wanted what happened to me, or anything of this nature. It means first you acknowledge, how do I contribute to the things that I don't want? For example, if we're taking the topic of jealousy, this is one that I have dealt with. Specifically, like jealousy often comes in like somebody has something that I don't have, whether it be success, attention, whatever it is, jealousy, okay? So the victim first mentality would be like, I am jealous because I was neglected as a child, because I wasn't given enough attention as a child. That's why I'm jealous of other people. And then it would divulge into, yes, because my parents were bad people. And then it would divulge into, yes, because everyone who doesn't give me the attention I deserve is a bad person, or something along this line. And then it divulges into, if I am not appreciated, you are the villain. I am jealous because I wasn't given what I needed. Okay. And this is something that should not be the first thing that comes to mind. The first thing that comes to mind should be, I am jealous, and this is causing bad behavior. Okay. You have to acknowledge that first. Acknowledge it first. I am jealous, and because I am jealous, I am hurting people. Then you work on accepting the parts of yourself that are jealous. You go, it's okay. I am jealous because I was hurt. It's okay that, I have these behaviors. You have to learn to love your behaviors first, okay? I still love and accept and understand the part of me that acted jealous because I was hurt. Okay. And it's okay that that happened. I didn't know any better. I was hurt. Now I know better. Now I can work on doing better. You learn to love yourself for your own behaviors, take accountability for your own behaviors. Then you can start focusing on what happened to make you that way. And then you go, okay, I have jealous behaviors because I was neglected as a child and I wasn't shown enough attention. And then because of the fact that you did accountability first, then what's going to happen is you're going to go, oh, wait, my parents were hurt too. And that's why they did what they did to me. That's why they neglected me. That's why they didn't show me enough attention, because they were fucking hurt too. Okay. Then it doesn't turn into, oh, so I have to because that's a whole other thing. You're just going to go down a spiral of boundaries and of relearning boundaries, because we are conditioned to feel helpless, to feel like victims, and to feel like there is no escape. We are emotionally manipulated into feeling like powerless victims. So once you do accountability first, you're just going to go down this whole new thought spiral of relearning what boundaries actually fucking are. Because when you first acknowledge, okay, I have jealous behaviors, it is not good behaviors, it hurts people when I act this way. And then you have to go, okay, but I still love myself, and there's a reason that I behave this way. There's a reason that I do this. And the reason is because when I was a child, I didn't get enough love and attention. And so now I feel like I am not appreciated or loved. And so I feel jealous when I see that happening to other people. But then you go, okay, my parents, because you did that for yourself, because you gave yourself love and acceptance, you go, okay, my parents did this to me because they were hurt. But that doesn't mean oh, I should accept this type of treatment from others. It doesn't mean I should accept this type of treatment from others. It means you learn how to put up healthy, effective boundaries rather than repressing and projecting the shame that you feel onto others becoming a perpetual victim and making yourself the monster in the process. Because this is what happens when we do victim first and we pretend like negativity only exists outside of us. It doesn't exist within us. We become the fucking monsters. We become the ones that we would blame. We become the villains. When we are perpetual victims, the outside world is the problem and it's never us. We become the fucking villains. And this is how the separation of negative and positive, of dark and light, the pretending that, negative and dark, uncomfortable, painful, all this stuff, by pretending that that is something that is like this lowly earthly experience rather than an inherent part of the divine that needs to be reclaimed, by pretending that it is separate, by pretending that it is outside of us, that is how we perpetuate the fucking victim villain cycle. That is how the toxic extremes that we see in the world today perpetuate themselves, because we pretend that it doesn't exist within us. When you really sit down and begin to do this process and work with the negative, dark parts of yourself, you understand that it is actually like the strongest fucking thing you can do to learn to work with it. That is growth. That is the spiritual growth, the spiritual healing and growth journey. That is the path. Spiritual growth and enlightenment and ascension is not casting out the negativity and overcoming the negativity. It is remembering that it is an inherent part of us and the world around us. It is reintegrating. It is accepting. It is honoring. It is learning to forgive and love yourself, and learning to reintegrate these aspects of ourselves that we were taught were wrong. Because if it's wrong for ourselves, it's wrong for the rest of the world, and all that does is continue the cycles. I'm going to leave it at this. When I try to talk about this, I am just continuously shown the reality that I have come to know in the past few years. That is the gods, the spirit guides, the higher selves, the spiritual entities who love us and guide us. They are not this Christian whitewashed version of purity and perfection. That is the lie. That is the emotional manipulation that keeps us in chains. These spiritual entities that guide us and our own higher selves and our own spirit beyond this reality do not exist in dualism, do not exist in like some purity perfection. They are complex, they are light and dark, and they know how to work with that. This is also our spirit. Our spirit knows how to work with those forces within ourselves and within the world around us. So the ascension process, the spiritual enlightenment process, is the process of remembering that and remembering how to do that. It is not easy, but that is the path. The trying to find easy, trying to find perfect, that is the emotional manipulation to keep us off the path. Okay, I'm rambling now, so I'm going to stop. Thanks, bye.